So just a few hours ago, there was a solar eclipse, and even though I only got to watch through live streams, it was insanely cool to see how some structures in the sun that would not have been visible if not for the moon just coincidentally covering the entirety of the sun would have appeared. So these flares or the fiery things that you would see around the edges of the sun during the solar eclipse, that was insanely cool to watch. This is not the only structure that you can see during a solar eclipse. So there are some stars that are positioned around the sun, for example, in our night sky, in our sky, that are not visible because of how bright the sun is. It overshadows these stars, so we can't see these stars. But during a solar eclipse, there's more of these stars that we can actually see. And in 1919, there was a specific solar eclipse that showed a star that's supposed to be positioned right behind the sun, but during that solar eclipse, we saw that it was to the right of the sun. So, like, how can it move so far? You can't just teleport a star or a bunch of stars in that much distance. That's insane. This is the solar eclipse that made one, if not the most famous scientist that we know of today, famous. So this is the solar eclipse that proved Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity. This star behind the sun we're not supposed to see, but because the sun has its curvature, its space-time curvature, because of how massive it is, that this curvature is noticeable. The path that the light from the star takes is curved as well. So instead of a straight line where it's supposed to just hit the sun and then we can't see this light from this star because, well, the sun is in front of us, so the sun is blocking that star. What happens is that this star's pathway is curved around the sun, and we can see it. So the image that we saw during that solar eclipse from 100 years ago is that this star appeared to the right of the sun, which doesn't make sense. Like, you can't just teleport that. It's insane that 100 years ago, Einstein was just walking around with his weird theories about how space-time can curve based on matter and energy. And then a lot of people were like, no, what are you talking about? Space-time can't curve, space is nothing. So he was shunned back then, but because of this solar eclipse, he became like so insanely famous that it's crazy to think about it now. So every time a solar eclipse is mentioned, this is what I think about. It's always Einstein. Like, Einstein is just coming up everywhere.